sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding a voice in control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had a relaxing weekend. Got the audio coming in loud and clear. And tonight, if you can't tell by the theme, the lie detector says, and we have determined you did not just freeze in shock for 8 hours. And I have Will Ferrell down there when he was playing Buddy the Elf saying, you sit on a throne of lies. You got Michael Scott, Jim Carrey from Liar Liar. Because anybody with a functioning brain where two roommates wait 8 hours as their friends are brutally killed. They hear stuff, both of them, documented. Do you expect anybody to actually not ask questions about why that would be? And if you can't ask questions about it, or if you feel like you're disrespecting or what do they call it? Guilting or victim shaming. No, that's not it. We're trying to find the truth. It's a little bit odd that one of them sees the killer, rather, comes face to face with them, opens her door 3 times, sees her roommate on the ground. The other roommate hears what she calls a firework or a firecracker, and then a sparkler light underneath her door, and none of them do anything. It's unbelievable. But I have a great stream lined up for you all today. As you know, Sundays I put an emphasis on the awesome stuff that you all send me for Hive Mind finds. So we are going to be getting into that. I have Phoenix Talks backstage, and I'm going to say what's up to the Hive, and then I'll bring Phoenix up right away, and we can get into it. So I see that Chrissy is in here. I agree with that, Texas Horse Girl. It's her own words in these new documents. Social Glow, what's going on? Catch you on the flip side. Lisa says, hey, Phoenix. Good morning, Rocket Queen. Tuning in from the Hive down under. Happy birthday, tinfoil hat, Claire. That's awesome. I always say, before you sing happy birthday, just look into the history of it. You might be casting a spell on yourself. If you've never heard of like the occult stuff behind the song Happy Birthday, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to ruin, a great day if your friends and family have already sung it to you. But if you're interested in going down a rabbit hole, that's a good one. What's going on, Susan? Fiona from Scotland. Beep, beep, Richie, beep, beep. Justin Bond says, what's going on, River Bear Teacup? I agree, Core. There is something intuitively and instinctively that just does not feel right. Mississippi woman, sorry about that, made another live. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for tuning in. Briley Allen, another Hive Down Under member. Kaylee's tuning in from the UK. What's going on, Crime Spy? Blue Eyed Candy, what's Gucci, my Louie? I agree with that, Z. Nicole, thank you so much for the super sticker. And I saw you did another one too. Lately, this has become my favorite part of my evenings. Love that we can all come together to talk and logic what makes sense. I agree. It's my favorite part of the evenings as well. Jay is in Copenhagen. Meg S, what's up? Karen's tuning in from OKC. Sally, how are you? Gone Girl, what's up? Chantelli Lace and Robin are all saying happy birthday to Claire. That's awesome. What's up, Ricky? Janet, Sherry, UK Karen. Crisis is back. She's been busy with football lately. Miss you guys. Well, we miss you too, Crisis. Dina's in the RV. Yeah, it's exactly right. Justin knows what I'm talking about. That's also right, Chantilly Lace with the resting bitch face. The UFO dog is in here, still creeping in Berdino's basement. Marianne, how are you doing? I agree. 5 green acres. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, leave more touch DNA on that like button than Brian Koberger left in that sheath. You know, I've said that many times. It still does not get old saying that. And it's such a weird joke how accurate that is. But Amanda B from West Virginia is tuning in. Kathy, Linnea, I agree. Absolutely. Cuffy says we've been busy sleuths today on Discord. OMP, what's up? Tax Max Facts, Thunderclap. Love that. Savvy Rooster from Texas. UFO Dog. What's up, Sky Blue? Love Peace is tuning in from Rado. Gwender Women. Uma. Nelly J is tuning in from Canada. Squirrel Nest. What's going on? Moto Man says Jules just put up a post. Homeland Security recorded statements in this case. Are you shitting me? We will have to check that out. No doubt about that. Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up Phoenix Talks. Phoenix, what's Gucci, my Louie?
Hey, Birdie, what's the wordy? Hey, Hive.
How's your weekend going?
Fantastic. Restful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was telling you backstage.
How about you?
Yeah, it's been going good. I was telling you, Miss Birdie and I, we went to go look at a house today.
Whoop, whoop.
Probably like the most, you walk in and you're like, oh shit, I could see this, that we've ever had. So that was exciting. Not sure if it's gonna work.
You gotta manifest that stuff. You gotta want it, see it, take it. It's yours. It's just waiting on you.
Well, and the problem with living in the Midwest is this place had a sick backyard.
Nice.
Like big enough for like multiple dogs, very like private and secluded, and it had a pool. And then we started thinking about like when we were driving away, we got in the car, we're like, we're only going to get that, 4 months out of the year. Like if that wasn't a factor, would we like the house? And we're like, I don't know. So we're kind of in a, give and take position right now.
That's a lot to take on. That's a lot of upkeep if you're only going to use it for part of the summer. Really.
Yeah, I grew up with a pool. My mom and dad had one, and I know they had to put in work every year to get it opened up and get the water all clean and all that stuff. So
summer evenings with the pool and barbecue on the backyard with the kids and the dogs, and you sit back and you grab a beer and you put your legs up and you say, I worked hard for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Take it.
Well, I know, and I will keep you guys updated on that. What did you think about my theme tonight, Phoenix, with the
I am at a loss for words, Birdie. I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. This
it does seem like that.
I went through all those reports yesterday. I thought, I usually read a book a week. I said I'm going to read this book tonight.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing that I want to make clear. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been starting the stream by laying out crystal clearly what the Hive Mind is. It is a contrarian thinking live stream where we think past the headlines, we question the narrative, and if you're going to get offended or rattled on behalf of others, this is not going to be the stream for you. But if you like to look into things, wear a tinfoil hat and question what is really going on here. Is there something going on in the background that's leading to all this weird stuff happening? Then you are amongst friends and you have found your people, and welcome to the Hive Mind. And I could tell you that after what you see tonight, if you've been on the fence, I don't think you're going to be on the fence anymore as far as the surviving roommates go. It's not to shame them. It's not to victim blame. It's to tell the truth in their own words. And we'll read their own words.
I was in shock after reading the new documents that the statement she gave. A couple of things stuck out, and then the follow-up. But one of the things that really ticked me off is, the documents themselves. And how is nobody catching this? When I look at it, and I'm thinking to myself, why didn't they question them? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they? I'm confused. And, somebody had to have had an injury that left the area. And they go and they subpoena records from all the treatment centers in the area, but they don't go to Ada County or Canyon County. And I'm thinking to myself, half of those students probably came up from Boise.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is, Phoenix. And
yeah,
we're going to get into it. So as a reminder, please go and click subscribe on my YouTube channel. Join the Hive Discord. I put a Substack out if you are into Substack every Monday and Thursday. All of my streams and all of the other platforms that I use, I keep them free. All I ask is that you just press that button and subscribe. That's the best way how to support the stream. We have birdiebombshell.com, which is going to have some awesome updated merch here, hopefully by the end of this month. I have a couple really, really cool ideas as far as like Hive merch, and it's not to do anything other than just show that people who are like-minded can bind together, uncover the truth, and not be shamed by the mainstream media. Rather, actually not be gaslit anymore, and put your foot down and say, this is ridiculous, and we have brains, and you guys must think that we're dumb. But you're dumb. We're not dumb. We've been watching your same playbook for decades, and it's about time we start pointing our fingers at you and calling you out like the losers that you are who try to poison our minds with lies, to put it bluntly. But nonetheless, we also have, and that was maybe a little harsh, but also it's like, it's really harsh what they do to us. You know what I mean? Do you know how many things that the narrative on the news has ruined for us? Countless. God forbid the people who have to consume this shit ask a couple questions.
I have to admit, I've been a little rebel lately, and I've been leaving comments on their mainstream media socials that aren't kind of nice, but really eye-opening, catchy. And I'm just like, shame on you, Ashley Banfield. Shame on you, BE. Shame on you.
Hey, they can say it to us, right? They can say it to
right?
us, and we're just out here trying to ask questions, and they can shame us. So, okay, very excited to announce the third ever Hive Mind Roundtable. The first two were unbelievable. That is actually going to be next Sunday, so it's coming up quick. I moved it up because of Labor Day weekend. I know a lot of people would be out of town, so I briefly mentioned that yesterday with George Webb, But I really want to emphasize this is open. I'm going to pick 3 people, 7 p.m. Central, Sunday, August 24th. All I ask is you have about 75 to 90 minutes uninterrupted, giving undivided attention, and then recording somewhere or talking somewhere where it's quiet. You don't need to have a mic. You can do it right on your phone. And it's really easy. I just send you a link. You press the link, type your name in, and you're good to go. So email me, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. Put in the subject, Hive Mind Roundtable or Roundtable, because that's how I search my inbox for people who want to submit a request to be on. And then just put like a couple sentences on what you'd like to talk about. Now, the Discord question of the day, this is kind of funny, Phoenix, that you had brought up the Twilight Zone. Muffin had asked, why is Idaho the Twilight Zone? Well, I believe it's a culmination. It's a culmination of ongoing corruption that's multifaceted across the courts, the local police, the university, and then powerful criminal networks. Just the right amount of powerful people, I believe, are involved. In this case, put Idaho on the map, as one would say.
Yeah, it's prime area for the taking for a lot of groups, farmers, business people, college money. I mean, if you look at the statistics in that area, it is wild because this area is not just about that. It's about biotech, it's about tech, it's about big funding for the government, studies, research. It's wild.
It is wild. And if you guys want another rabbit hole to go down, just look into like any big, like federally funded university study. That's where they bury the bodies in how they get away with funding nefarious studies, is they do it through the universities. Nobody questions a grant to the universities. Well, there's a lot of wild stuff hidden in those studies. I can tell you that much.
And it's pretty unique, Birdie, because they do have a port there. And the prosecutor has mentioned this before. It's the perfect area for something going on down there. But they have the best of both worlds. And that's how they have been able to, I should say the criminal networks have been able to infiltrate Idaho. Idaho used to be a fabulous state. Don't get me wrong. When I lived there, I loved it, traveled all around the state. Beautiful area. The city of trees is Boise. But unfortunately, there has been probably in the last 5 to 7 years, a lot of more crime.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember hearing people talk about how Boise was like a hidden gem.
Mm-hmm. Meridian. That's, I mean, the number one place to raise a family. That's kind of what drew me there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Moving on to the Hive Mind finds. And as I was saying in the intro, Phoenix, Sundays, I've been trying to go deeper on the Hive Mind finds because there are some Hive Mind finds where it's just like a link and it's great. I check it out and I look into it. But then there's others that really, really put together intricate information, details, documents are attached, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. So Sundays are going to be the days where we really dive into those. And I know you and I were talking about that. Yeah. So
I love it.
So this is unbelievable. I sent you this, Phoenix.
I did. Sherlock Holmes. I love it. Classic. You win. I knew it.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's so cool. He comes up with the best stuff.
He does. He's got like a sense of humor that if you know about all that stuff, like if you've actually, worn a tinfoil hat or looked into the conspiracy theories, he's on point with all those comments. So, okay, this is crazy. Now, this is very relevant to how we were listening to the 911 audio. You guys remember 1111 had heard that background conversation, and then we blew it up and we were breaking it down. And now this is not 1111 who sent me this video, but they go on to say, Birdie, this is a total mind blow. Notable quotes: one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind equals man will spacewalk backwards. 2340 begins the solving of crimes. This guy figured out that everybody does this about every 30 seconds. We interject backwards speech into our subconscious during conversation. I wonder what kind of impact this could have on the Idaho 4 case. Now, I'm going to play about not 10 minutes, about 5 to 7 minutes of this. It's going to blow your mind. This is from the Y Files. This is a great channel, too, if you guys don't follow this. A lot of interesting content.
In 1983, David Oates dropped his Walkman into the toilet. Now, if you're under 40 years old, a Walkman was...
I'll be an asset or liability. The surveys show that it's help because...
Oh yeah, this wasn't just arson, this was attempted murder. Anyway, on the tape, you hear someone yell to David that the house is on fire. David then runs out of the room. About 30 seconds later, you can hear one or possibly two people ransacking his office. And David could hear whispering on the tape, loading all of his data and sending it to an IP address in Virginia. As is common with whistleblowers and other people with information the government doesn't like, David Oates was ridiculed. When government officials were asked about reverse speech, they said it was nonsense. When asked about David Oates giving a workshop to intelligence agencies, they denied knowing anything about it. But in 2016, the CIA declassified David Oates' file. They were keeping tabs on him and his books. They did take reverse speech seriously. They probably still do. But reverse speech doesn't have to just be about solving conspiracies. You could also use it to solve crimes. You could interview a suspect and then play the conversation back to find out the truth. And David Oates has helped law enforcement in exactly this way. On David's website, you can buy training materials to teach yourself how to identify reverse speech. And David's students have used reverse speech during employee interviews to identify the best candidates. It's been used to successfully warn a CEO not to sign a deal that had hidden traps. Reverse speech is also used in personal development. For people struggling with anxiety or depression, reverse speech has been used by psychologists to better understand the subconscious. It's helped families reconnect. It's given students clarity when faced with major life decisions. Now, some would argue that people go to psychics to help them with major decisions, and that's usually a scam. But reverse speech is different. There is no spirit talking through a medium. There are no tarot cards, no crystal ball. With reverse speech, you can hear the words with your own ears, and then it's up to you to make the interpretation. Now, chances are you were already leaning in one direction. You just needed someone to give you some advice and a little push. With reverse speech, the person giving you advice is someone that you know, without question, has your best interest in mind. That person is you.
I had my path, and then came age.
Well, sooner or later, I don't know if it's all going to be coming out at once. I mean, the one thing for sure is the thing that's on a lot of people's minds is what about outdoors? We must know that I am. We must know that I am. We must know that I
am. So, reverse speech, is it a real thing? Well, officially, no. Reverse speech is considered pseudoscience. At least for now, it's being debated. And there's a reason for that. The clips I played today are the best ones I could find. I cherry-picked them. Most reversals are kind of like this.
The business is doing well, and we're doing well. It's what
the hell are they talking about? Well, according to David Oates, most reversals are metaphors. So when we listen to this Neil Armstrong clip, the reverse is, wife, feel the vomit.
Like it's clear and okay.
David Oates interprets this, that Neil Armstrong feels like his wife is probably very worried. How about this reversal where Armstrong says, we were wanting that knob. Stop it.
Well, I really think that had we not done that, we'd still been all right. But it was just insurance. It's nice to get a little insurance now. Reality, mountain out. Reality, mountain out.
This was interpreted as something on the lander had been broken and they needed to fix it. But that's really just an interpretation of a metaphor, which will mean different things to different people. This is often what happens with so-called prophets like Nostradamus. Let's look at Century 3, Quatrain 34.
Then the eclipse of the sun will then be. In broad daylight, the monster will be seen. Everyone will differ on the interpretation. Across unguarded, none will have foreseen it.
For a long time, this was interpreted as the assassination of JFK. The eclipse of the sun is the darkening of Kennedy's presidency. The monster was Lee Harvey Oswald.
And the 3 other shooters.
Right. But then after the 9/11 attacks, people said the eclipse was the collapse of the Twin Towers, and the monster represents the terrorists. And I can understand either of these, but I'm an American. These are 2 very American-centric interpretations. I bet Asian cultures have different interpretations. Muslim cultures definitely do. What if you're Ukrainian? Couldn't the monster be Putin or the Russian army? And maybe the eclipse predicts the destruction of Kyiv or Ukraine losing the war. This is reflection and projection. People naturally interpret metaphors through the lens of their own culture, their own age group, and their own language. And like Nostradamus, reverse speech interpretations will be radically different for different people. But as you can see, not only is the interpretation completely subjective, but so are the words themselves. Different people might hear different things. Check out this clip of Bill Clinton. David Oates hears, "I like the path on my girl Bunny."
With the COVID-19 outbreak on a path to killing 200,000 people and destroying millions of jobs and small businesses.
I don't hear that at all.
I don't hear that either, but for some reason, it makes sense with this guy.
Does it?
Girl Bunny, Playboy magazine, naked lady. Bill Clinton loves those.
Fair enough. So you can see why reverse speech is controversial. The human brain really doesn't like chaos and randomness. It likes order. This is why you see familiar shapes in clouds.
Oh, like that time my grilled cheese sandwich looked like SpongeBob riding a broomstick while wearing a cowboy hat.
That's oddly specific, but that's how it works. Your brain fills in as many details as it can. It's called pareidolia. And this can occur with sound too. It's called audio or auditory pareidolia. When you hear backward speech, it sounds really random. So your brain tries to make some sense of it. This could be why reverse speech is perceived as a string of metaphors. Because how else do we connect Bob Lazar with eloping?
So, I mean, that was the first time I knew that this is
crazy.
Really something different.
What was it?
Not this one.
But there are reversals of Lazar that do make some sense.
And you got that job. Before that, you were working.
Before that, I had worked at Los Alamos National Labs in New Mexico. You know, you can turn on an electromagnet and it makes a magnetic field. We can't make a gravitational field. You know, when I worked there, I was on the front page of the paper. So they were still able to archive, you know, bring that back from the archives. And, you know, Bob Lazar, a physicist working here at Los Alamos. So there was at least something there. This is if I was.
But again, is there real meaning here, or is our brain trying to help us out because some of these reversals do make sense in certain contexts? Honestly, it's hard to say. Now, skeptics will say there is zero to reverse speech, that the human brain just can't process language this way. Well, if you're one of those skeptics, I've got bad news for you.
So I think it then goes into...
The human brain is an amazing machine.
Well, so you guys get the point of that. It's interesting because they do have FOIA declassified or FOIA requested declassified documents that have been released talking about the study of reverse speech. Now, it is open to interpretation. That was from the Y Files. Like I said, that's a great channel. Super interesting stuff. Highly recommend going to check them out. And thank you to American Warfighter who had sent this. Now, this is also crazy.
Yes.
This is unbelievable. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to play this video and I'm going to sit back and try to not press my mouse to stop it because you're just going to be, it's just so, it's all weird. Hive.
We are like on the same wavelength. It's so odd.
Yeah. I literally watched this. I'm like, what?
I know.
So
let's watch.
Check this out.
So I know I only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to make this as short and sweet as I possibly can. My name is Samantha Nelson. I was born Samantha Gonzalez. I am Keely's eldest sister.
There are many secrets being withheld from the public about this case. However, when a few secrets slip through the cracks and go public, we must investigate them in order to paint a full picture. Now, if you notice, the Gonsalves family has been hiding things from the public. But what's the reason for this? Why would they not want the secret to go public? Meet the other Gonsalves that no one mentions.
My name is Samantha Nelson. I was born Samantha Gonsalves. I am Keely's eldest sister. And we do have different mothers. We share the same father. Steve is my biological dad. And I don't feel like going into intimate details about how that came to be or the background of my lineage. All I want to do is come on here and basically explain to you, while simultaneously cultivating vulnerability within myself, that yes, it takes a lot to go on here and be somebody who really shares passion about this case and the situation at hand, but you really have to be careful about your wording and your comment section and what you're posting, because your interactions with the media, with the internet, affects everybody who can see it, and it's everywhere. You can't escape it right now. Me especially, I cannot even open my phone without it popping up everywhere I go, and it's haunting me. Like I go on here and I've tried to share my story and my take on things and just process aloud and use this as a means to find community, and I do think bringing awareness to it is critical.
Now, if you put Samantha and Steve side by side, they definitely look like a 99% match. But listen to what Christy had to say when mentioning the order of her family on the 1-year anniversary interview of the Idaho murders.
Sister and brother, his friends.
She's very close with her siblings.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about the siblings and what the order is?
So Olivia's the oldest, and then Stephen, then Kaylee, then Autumn, and Aubrey.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Now, this is where it all started. If you noticed, the family only mentioned 5 kids. Is it possible they missed one by accident? Or did they do it on purpose? Many people are saying how it's strange that they left out Samantha, but it seems like they accepted Maddie as their own daughter. Now, due to her being left out of the interview question of the order of the family and being told not to express her emotions, she's been making a myriad of TikTok videos, giving us the truth about why this is happening and writing it down in her journals. She claimed that Steve hadn't spoken to her since the night of the murders.
So since it is almost been a year since the anniversary of my sister's death, I wanted to go on here and talk about my dad, Steve Gonsalves, and elaborate on my perspective on things and how it's affected my life. I didn't know how to go about that. I don't know how to go about that. So I decided that I would write from a journal entry that I wrote today. And I feel really vulnerable doing this. So anyway, this is what I wrote today. Hi, Steve. I'm really feeling exactly why I've been so bothered by Steve. I understand now that when he would write me for all those years, I did not have a fixed idea or example of what his voice would sound like or how his movements would look while speaking. Seeing him on the screen so often expressing his love for his daughter and its deep sadness that he feels because she is gone is all expressions that I wanted him to have for me. I feel like I owe my sister an apology for why I'm so upset with him, because it doesn't have anything to do with her, just like her death doesn't have anything to do with me, but we are still intertwined nonetheless. Her unaliving shows me exactly the capability that Steve has to be a father. I didn't get that, and she did. Please bear with me, because I don't really want people to get the wrong idea here. I'm just trying to express myself. Okay. Her death shook an entire nation. And when I was told not to speak about it, it really hurt. And when I found out I wasn't allowed to speak to my dad about it, and the media and TikTok especially had all sorts of accusations and borderline obsessions about the case, and I was blasted for simply asking people to remember that the victims have families and that this subject is sensitive. This resulted in my other sister, Olivia, going online accusing me of gaining clout off of Kaylee's death. Obviously, this wasn't my intention at all. And though I was not allowed to talk to Kaylee often, her and I did connect via Facebook and other platforms. And Olivia and I did spend physical time together on more than one occasion because she was the oldest besides myself, and it was more appropriate.
Now, that's strange that the family who was just saying this
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up
been
the
the target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can. But somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story.
are the same ones telling the other daughter, Samantha, to suppress the story. What clout is there to be gained in this situation? How can Olivia claim that Sam is in it for clout when that's her sister? If she's gaining clout, then what's the difference between what Olivia is doing and what Samantha is doing?
Steve got my mom pregnant as a teenager and left us both. He also refused to let my stepdad adopt me at the time and always had this unspoken claim over me that I think he wanted to keep a reminder that I am in fact his child. I don't really know why that is to this day. Exactly. But over the duration of my entire life, we spoke in private through thousands of emails since I was a child. His wife would never approve of this and always shut me down every time or ignored me entirely when I would try to reach out to my sisters and my brother. So being told to go underground and keep to myself after all this really set me into a really dark night of the soul. Seeing my dad's face and some of the more unsettling comments opened an abandonment issue, an abandonment wound that I thought I had since healed by the connection that I had developed with Steve before this had happened. In a lot of ways, Steve became my best friend. And even though I had never met him in person since I was a very young child, I still had a lot of love and a lot of curiosity about my family and where it came from, and that never went away. I watched him and my sisters grow up through the pictures he would send me, and I felt like I knew Kaylee. I felt like I knew Kaylee since she was a little girl. And I was kept secret long before she even knew about me. I had no desire to force myself into their family when I was again repeatedly told that Steve was given an ultimatum to either choose me or his other children by his wife, Christy. So needless to say that he chose his other family. And I respected that. However, I always held hope that I'd get to meet them all someday, especially because I really enjoyed the time that I did get to spend with Olivia. And I would have given anything to meet Kaylee. God, it's hard to read. Perfect strangers are grieving her death, but I'm not supposed to, and I'm her blood relative. I changed my last name from Samantha Gonzalez to Samantha Nelson when I was 18 because it felt like the only thing I had control over, and I wasn't part of that side of my family.
Now, if Olivia is the eldest daughter, that means that Samantha is younger, which also may mean that there was some infidelity going on in the relationship. After cheating, many men find themselves in a position where they tend to seek redemption to reconcile with their wife after the betrayal, which makes sense now that Steve didn't talk to his daughter because his wife told him not to.
That Steve was given an ultimatum to either choose me or his other children by his wife, Christy. So needless to say that he chose his other family. And I respected that, however.
I don't think Sam should get neglected because she didn't ask to be here. She was created and should be treated with the same respect as her other siblings.
Hi guys, I wanted to go on here and thank everybody for their support. I don't have the words. Hearing your guys' stories has been a profound honor.
Overall, it seemed like things were patched up for now when the grandmother reached out to the daughter on Steve's behalf to mend the situation. Why do you think Christy was blocking Steve from talking to his daughter? Why did Steve allegedly pick his other family over this one? Get in the comment box below and let me know your thoughts. Casper West here, signing out.
So, that video was from Casper West. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know how many people knew about Samantha. It's just, while very sad and heartbreaking, that's not a situation that I'm sure is unique just to them. But I can't imagine when you combine that with the world's biggest and most high profile murder case, it's probably very hard and to put that out and do that. So I really don't have comments on it other than just, I watched this video and there were some things in there where I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. So I wanted to share that with everybody. Phoenix, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've talked to Sam. We've chatted, and I was watching her videos even before I knew she was Kaylee's sister. And it's a sad situation. It's a hard situation to be in, especially as a woman in this world. And all little girls want are their daddies to acknowledge them. And I have a feeling, in my humble opinion, allegedly, they didn't want this exposed because they would look like bad parents, bad step parents. And I've seen this in families before, that children don't get a choice and they're forced by other adults to choose the parent or choose a child and abandon that child over their other children. And it breaks my heart because you can see the pain she's under. You can see what she struggles with. She's very open about her life story. And it's one of those emotional ones, It's a hard one.
Well, you can, as you and I have talked about before, Phoenix, we've watched a lot of interviews. We watched a lot of press conferences, hearings, sentencing. Although it's through a screen, you have something inside of you that you can tell when someone's being genuine and sincere and honest, and the feelings and the emotion behind it are still able to travel through a screen, and you can tell when something feels a little bit off. But I don't think in this case there was that.
And my overall take is rejection. It's not so much, and that's something that you carry on over and over and over again in your life. I mean, she has come a long way and she is still on a road to healing. But, when I see a video like this that somebody else has put together, it just pulls at your heartstrings because there is a disconnect there.
Right. And so this is interesting now. It leads me into, I tried to kind of flow with this. Now, this is the first time, and I didn't do this on purpose, but this is the first time that we've had two members of the Hive have two Hive Mind finds. So Charlie and then American Warfighter had back-to-back Hive Mind finds. They were both on fire, separate emails. And I was going through them and I'm like, wow. And it's also very odd that the 4 emails flow together so easily, as far as, we just watched, the reverse speech thing, which is interesting because it went into the 911 call and what we've been diving into. And then now into the Samantha. Now we're going to talk about, it is very interesting. Charlie points out, why in the new released documents are all the questions surrounding Kaylee, her relationships, her involvements. No questions about Maddie and her personal relationships or people. And I thought to myself, wow, that is rather true, like very true, actually. Because nothing was talked about her as far as on the 911 call. There's no mention of her. But yet all the paper trail and the documents are heavily tipped in as far as the amount about Kaylee.
Well, even in the Moscow Police Department files that were released, they were more about Kaylee, questioning her finances, questioning all the, warrants. But in these new documents, it's even heavier.
Yeah. Well, and to continue on to the second part of Charlie having a first time ever double Hive Mind find along with American Warfighter. They wrote, Dylan's statement states she was in the house when police arrived and started putting up tape, but doesn't that go against the 911 call? Didn't Hunter state he told them to get out and call? Which brings me to my next point. If they are inside when police arrive, they 100% saw all the blood, which the officer described in the lounge, which is all over the ping pong table and across the half wall and the bathroom, but yet didn't know anything happened. And though she was just passed out, the cop said her legs were covered in blood. So she obviously saw that too. You cannot say she didn't see all the blood as described. And if she was that scared, why is she chilling in the lounge in the midst of it all? Correct. And it does make you go, It's the reality of it. And as I said, it's not victim shaming. If this roommate knows something, or if they are being told not to say something and they're being quiet, the mainstream media doesn't get to dictate what's right and what's wrong when it comes to the truth. As far as, guys, I'm going to go through a slide of what I am calling the most unbelievable 8-hour gap in modern true crime. Is this 8-hour window? It's the black hole. It makes no sense.
It's the portal.
It is. That 8-hour window is as good of a descriptor as you can get to Moscow being a portal to hell. That's so true, Phoenix. And I have some clips that Charlie had included from the new police documents, and I'm going to read the top and the bottom paragraph here for everybody. So this is from supplement number 32. As you go up the stairs to the second floor, you enter a small living room area. There was a folding table set up on the west side of the area, partially blocking the entry to the west hallway. The table had multiple red solo cups on it in game formation for beer pong, along with a small steak knife. There were multiple areas of red liquid on the table that appeared to be blood. As I walked west from the living room, there was a half wall to my right. I could see multiple drops and runs of red liquid around or along the entire half wall. Across the half wall on the north side, I saw more red stains on the wall above the first and second floor staircase. The stains and liquid were consistent with cast off and appeared to be blood. Continuing west down the hallway, there was a bathroom to the left on the south end, with the hallway ending at a bedroom. On the north wall of the hallway, near the bedroom door, there appeared to be a red-colored transfer mark at approximately my shoulder height. I'll just read this whole thing. From the living room, looking into the west bedroom, I could see a female kernodle lying near the center of the room. Her legs and arms appeared to be covered in blood. As I entered the bedroom, I saw multiple drops of red liquid near the entrance and multiple red-colored drips on the door above and below the doorknob. A male, Chapin, was laying in the bed, partially covered by a blanket and comforter. His neck and chest were heavily covered in a red liquid. Multiple walls appeared to have red-colored cast-off, and there were multiple areas on the floors with pools of red-colored liquid. All the red-colored liquids appeared to be blood. Kernodle appeared to have multiple cuts to her hands, arms, and face. Chapin appeared to have a deep cut to the outer portion of his right knee and neck area. On a desk outside the north wall of the bedroom was Kernodle's University of Idaho, U of I identification, along with a rolled up $2 bill and a powder consistent with a, I would guess, whatever that was. But she advised they stayed in the house when the police arrived, and the police, were putting the tape up. Pause. What? She advised they stayed in the house when the police arrived, and the police, were putting the tape up when they realized there had been a crime. And when they saw the ambulance arrive and leave, told them they would not leave unless there was no reason to stay. She then advised the vandal alert came out, and that is when they realized their friends were actually gone. What?
So I saw a video today, and Steve was talking about at 2:15, Hunter Johnson was there. And I thought, 2:15, is he talking about, he can't be talking about the afternoon. It had to have been 2:15 in the morning. And I had to go back and listen to this video a few times. And we're not being told the story. We are definitely not being told the story. And it's scary after reading these documents, because Dylan says that she knew the killer and he was protecting her. What is up with this story?
And this is what I'm trying to get at here. And these are from the police statements. We are not doing a conspiracy theory right now. We're trying to read the documents and piece together, and you have to forget anything that the news has told you, because you also have to remember the news, they didn't have these. They speculated just like they were shunning people who were speculating the same way they were. Their narrative was just emotionally palatable, and simp normies can palate that. Oh, there's a guy obsessed with serial killers, stalk them. It's a creep. Criminology student, so he knows how to get away with it. You know what I mean, Phoenix? And it's like, no, well, hang on. So let's just talk about take the perpetrator, or take the people who did this out of it, right? It could be, call it Brian Kohberger. Say it wasn't Brian Kohberger. Take them out of it. I will equate this to when a husband goes missing, or a kid goes missing, or a wife goes missing. As uncomfortable as it is, who do you have to clear first every time in those crimes, Phoenix?
The immediate people that saw them last. The last people, usually it's a witness. It's usually a witness, not a victim, or another victim of that crime. So, you know, the husband, the wife, the son, the brother, the uncle, whoever was there. And in this house, they were all family. It's like family that was living there. It's a different dynamic, but that was the people that they counted on, that they trusted from day in and day out, that they knew their schedules, they knew their lives.
Exactly. You clear the significant other and you clear the family first. And if you look at King Road, because they're roommates, you look at that house as a family. It's the same thing, right? You got to clear the people who lived at that house first. And as uncomfortable as I'm sure that is, if the family had nothing to do with it, as an investigator, you must clear the people that are closest to them. And my question is, when you look at the statements that the roommates have given and how they change, and how they don't just change, they get downplayed. You go from Dylan hearing a scream yelling someone's in the house to, I thought I heard Kaylee and Murphy dancing. What? Wait, hang on. My red flags would be going off as much as they could. That's like, if I read that as a lawyer, I'd be like, this is DEFCON 5. Pull the alarms. Something's not right. What's happening?
Yeah. As an investigator, as an officer of the law, I mean, I showed the other day on a live the actual video of them going out there on the noise complaint, and these guys were rough. These policemen were like, look, you don't want us to get the Greek council involved. Just tell us what, whoever is in charge here and this and that. And it was like, whoa, where are these guys that were investigating and interrogating and questioning? And there were so many suspects in this case that had better reasons to be interrogated than Brian Kohberger.
So that leads me to what I'm calling the single most insane gap in modern true crime, is this 8-hour black hole. And I'll start with the mainstream gaslighting that we all are very aware of. And if you're not, and like I said, if you're just now tuning into the Hive for the first time, let me bring you up to speed in a sentence or two. The media has spent weeks portraying, or they spent years at this point, portraying Dylan and Bethany as the, quote, poor traumatized victims, quote, to deflect criticism. But the hard documents show they heard things, they saw things, and they sat on it for a half of a day. 8 effing hours. An unconscious person dispatch lie. Dylan literally saw the killer. Bethany heard shit too. It was the loudest house on campus, but that night it's just a silent crime scene. They're too scared to act. Fine. At 4 a.m., maybe. But 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 a.m., she's still frozen. That is not fear. That is narrative cover. And both roommates do nothing while their friends are dying 2 doors away. That's not blaming them, but those are real questions that need to be answered. You hear stuff. You see the guy after one of your roommates just said someone's in the house and was scared and running. Bethany sees a flash and hears a bang, and they don't do anything for a half of a day. Yet they're in the house when the police show up now? What is happening? Because this is the stuff that pisses me off. This is like what I've said has made me passionate to start this stream. And it's this section right here. Believe it or not, this section right here is what pisses me off more than this, if I'm being fully honest. I cannot stand the narrative gaslighting, because what it does is it completely makes the truth irrelevant. And then when it comes out, you know, it's like the quote, whoever said the quote, a lie will make its way 2 times around the world before the truth even has time to get out of bed and put its pants on. I bet that whoever they said that quote didn't even say the quote, and they're trying to prove a point about that quote, because it's the truth. And I hope that that makes sense, what I was just trying to say. But
absolutely,
their own words, they saw things. They heard things.
Okay. So these reports, all these years, they've been calling people like us conspiracy theorists, right? And that's why I put up that little sign, back in March, that I'm just giving you the headlines 6 months early before it comes out, because this is typically what happens. So now that we are no longer conspiracy theorists and we're sharing the documents, that's why I've been trying to get it up so fast on the website. But when you look at this and you think, what are we now? They're the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And here's what I want to know, Phoenix. What is a conspiracy? I'm serious. Call it a conspiracy theory. You could, and I could be wrong. I'm not trying to not justify what I'm about to say as a theory, as a conspiracy. But what is a conspiracy about waiting 8 hours, saying there was an unconscious person to the dispatcher when there's a quadruple homicide, you seeing the killer, and as you heard on the 911 call, she starts to talk about a man in their house, and you hear, shh, mute it. And it goes mute. Then Bethany's hearing shit and seeing shit. It's always a party house. What is a conspiracy about asking, is that a little weird, right? That I don't get how that's wrong to ask if that's weird.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. We're questioning. And just like you played on those tapes, some people can hear what they're saying on those tapes when slowed down or sped up. People in here are intelligent, Birdie. I'm telling you. It's like when they draw you a picture and they say, what do you see in this picture? And someone says, I don't see nothing. And someone says, oh, I see a bird. I see this. I see that. Because their minds are creative to actually see and question what they're being asked to do. And, I think about this case, and I think about the people involved in this case, and why it was so important to keep this hush hush, cause as much chaos and confusion as possible, because now we're seeing what actually was truthful.
Yes, it's not shaming them. It's asking an adult, hey, your roommates were killed. You saw a guy in your house. You heard your roommate scream. Someone's in the house and you ran up the stairs. Can you give me a little bit of reasoning as to why it's noon until you called the cops?
Yeah.
Right?
What was the reason? I mean, the killer, obviously, she saw him. She felt she was being protected. Open and shut the door 4 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times.
So many inconsistencies. Even the little details she throw in there that Kaylee was in her Doc Martens coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
Well, those aren't that easy to get on. And obviously, Maddie had boots that night. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, get your story straight. Why didn't she hire an attorney straight up? Why?
Well,
I mean,
the other thing too, Phoenix, what do you make out about how I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have the document in front of me, so don't quote me on an exact quote, but it was along the lines of feeling as if the person in the house was there to protect her. Something along those lines.
That's what she said. Yeah.
What does that even mean? Again, how is a cop listening to this after an 8-hour delay, seeing the person, hearing them, and then that the same person, I'm not trying to laugh and make light of it, I'm rather chuckling because of how unbelievable it is that no police officer said, "Hey, Bill, come here. Let me just talk to you." I was watching from behind that the see-through mirror while you were interrogating her.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on anything that she was saying? She feels like they were there to protect her. Oh, they see her. She opens her door 3 times, hears her roommate yelling, then sees them on the floor, then doesn't call for a half day. Are you drunk, Bill? Do I need to have somebody else go in there and interrogate her? Because clearly you're not capable of hearing what she's actually saying.
Where's the good cop, bad cop? Well, you know, her stepmom was actually a former Ada County prosecutor. So she worked for the district attorney. So that's who her stepmom is. Her real mom works at the University of Idaho in Boise. So she had some connections, but that's why I'm like, how could this person be such a mastermind? And then I started thinking about to the Mean Girl scenario and the video that Maddie put out in October before this happened. And if you really watch that video, the music that Maddie used was, I don't know if you have that video. It just brings a different perspective after watching it. It was her last video on her TikTok account. It's still up there. It is powerful if you watch it. Listen to the words, because that actually came out of the movie American Psycho.
Does anybody know what
It's under Maddie Mogan.
Maddie Mogan?
It just hits differently when you watch this.
I can just type the name and it'll pop up.
Yeah, just type it in and it'll pop up. This had to have been a group effort.
This
right
one?
There. Yep. 7.7 million.
You fucking liar. You fucking manipulator.
Don't wear that outfit again.
You fucking asshole. You fucking liar. You fucking manipulator.
Whoa. Don't wear that outfit again.
Now go to the music and see what that was, where the video actually originated from. You click on the video, click on the round arrow, go to the down at the bottom.
I don't know if it'll pop up. Oh, here it is over here.
It should.
It says use this if you're gay. That's
Go,
what it
now
says.
go,
Phoenix.
I know. Go to it.
Okay.
And then it'll give you the original video that it came out of right at the first one. Watch it.
This one?
Yep.
You fucking asshole. You fucking liar. You fucking manipulator.
Don't wear that outfit again.
I get it basic, every finna cook it, call it down, and sit on my wrist. They said it was suddenly give us some cheese. I told them this fuck, I'm already rich. She didn't ask me if I got it talking for really. I told her I got it. And not to be cut in the belly, I take blue down.
Now it's different.
Yeah. I mean, it's very odd that, even just the original one where it's at her roommate saying that. She's being funny, or is she like just, and that was the night that she got killed?
That's the only video on video. All of her other videos are her friends, sorority sisters, funny, and that is the only video like that on her whole feed.
So it was posted on October 30th.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 7.7 million people have seen that video.
And then, you get people like, what the fuck? Do you guys have friends? This post was a joke. I mean, how can you say that? You have to at least look at it. Who knows? Maybe it is a joke. It absolutely could be a joke. But again, what I'm trying to get at, Phoenix, is 4 people were killed. They didn't have anybody in custody yet. They were telling the community, meaning the police chief, was saying, it's been 4 days. I know that I'm going to mispronounce the victims' names. We don't have any information. I can't answer any of your questions, but you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me one of 2 things. It's either the most obvious case of corruption where the police are helping Dylan and Bethany craft and downplay their statements throughout, like from the first to the third to the fourth statements they make. They're helping them downplay and omit things that they know could be powerful, muddy the waters for an attorney that comes in and tries to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're delaying as much as they can because there is, as Steve G has said in his own words, a parallel investigation going on by the FBI that the Moscow PD was not privy to any of that investigation or information going on.
Correct.
But yet they made it sound like they were working together the whole time.
Or the worst psyop we've ever seen and caught on to and seen this pattern. And now we're ruined for life.
I mean, yeah. And what does Paige say here? They were watching the Vampire Diaries in the living room. When did she move to the bedroom, or was she in the living room the whole time? Fake narrative. It's a great question. And also, here's the thing. I was thinking through this. Do you remember how Bethany was saying that her and Maddie had let the dog out?
Yeah.
Okay. But then apparently Maddie comes and or not Maddie. So Bethany's statement says her and Maddie took the dog out, but like, Maddie was cold. Or sorry.
Yeah.
Bethany and Maddie took the
Bethany
dog
was
out.
cold. She left Maddie outside looking for the dog.
Yes. But now Kaylee comes in and asks Bethany, where's the dog? It's right before Jack gets blown up in the text. Or no.
No. Maddie comes downstairs to Bethany's room and says, have you seen Murphy?
Yes. Have you seen Murphy? And it's like, well, Bethany says that she left Maddie out there with the dog. Is what did I say Kaylee? I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay.
So Maddie comes down and asks Bethany, where's the dog? Bethany says, I left Maddie outside with the dog. Then you see Kaylee and Maddie both calling Jack.
Correct.
Bro, wake up. What the fuck? Right? Like all those texts. Is that a flurry of panic, or is that where's the dog? And then people don't hear the dog barking until right after the alleged murders continue. And Murphy doesn't have blood on him. So I'm like, dude, did somebody come and take the dog? Did somebody on that walk?
No.
If you know what I mean?
I think the dog was in Kaylee's room. I think they put the dog in Kaylee's room.
It's just crazy. So Sherlock says they were watching Vampire Diaries with someone named LM. I really hope that's him and his PJs watching Vamp Diaries with them. That would be everything. Christ.
No, I doubt it.
But I mean, so it's just the timeline too. When you start digging into what these statements are saying, I think that you can really start to pick out at what points do things start to go south and get suspicious. I think when they can't find the dog, but we're also taking the word of Bethany and Dylan, who they're the only people that can speak on behalf of anything that happened that night.
I think there were other people there. I really do. You know, I have been thinking about this, Birdie, and I watched about 15 interviews and listened to Steve, and boy, his tune changed towards the end. And he was like, we know he was questioning the roommates. He was questioning because he had made a statement about, you know, she had no idea that they were going to track her phone, that they would be able to get the information that they knew she was upstairs or downstairs. And then he cuts himself off. And I'm thinking to myself, he's tried to tell us a little at a time in every interview, kind of like this video, this 911 that we hear, the audio, like we're catching little bits of information as we listen to it. And I'm watching his videos and I'm thinking, I think he wasn't okay with what was going on with the investigation, obvious, but he was trying to drop hints along the way. He was against this.
Maybe he was also.
Where did he flip?
Well, and I'm wondering though, like again, hearing the background conversation, you know, that 1111 has pointed out that we dove into, right? I'm just like, if he's there, if it's ongoing and they know that it's a mess and that, you know, whatever the time they said the call happened and who was there, is Steve either aware of it? Does he know people involved with it? And is he trying to put himself out there saying, like in a protective manner of, see, I'm not telling the truth out there. Yeah, like he's not saying the truth out there. He's signaling through the screen, talking at somebody specifically, as we've mentioned from the beginning. And I think Blue Eyed Candy hit the nail on the head with maybe Murphy going missing was the beginning of everything, because the statements Go ahead.
Yeah, I just remembered something on my timeline. I remember hearing the dog at Linda Lane around that area.
Well, I want to find it because I have notes on this. And when I was going through the documents, what I thought was very odd was that if you were to like stress test, is what I would call it, the new documents as far as pertaining to Murphy, I believe Murphy, while it's going to take forever to comb through, like for barks, what time, what neighbors allegedly heard the dog bark or didn't, it does tend to have an unbiased like marker on the timeline. Like you can't fake a dog barking really. Or I mean, I guess you could with a noise implant if you want to say that the entire audio is manipulated, which it very well could be. But what I'm saying is not until about 4 a.m. do you hear the dog start to bark, right? Like there's between 4 and 5, there's reports of dog outside. One neighbor heard or says that she heard no barking. But then also, in addition to that, I believe that it was like Bethany or somebody had said they heard the dog barking as they were moving away or going away. The phrase, I'm trying to find the exact phrase of it, but it doesn't make sense. Like why would you word it that way?
Okay, so someone was interviewed. I'm on supplement, whatever, page 13. There was between 1:15 and 1:30, she denied right here. She said she heard who she believed to be Kaylee running down the stairs and advised Murphy was barking at this time. Now, this was Dylan's statement. There had to been a neighbor or someone who...
It was a friend. It was... So one of the interviewees says that a dog at 4 a.m. was barking. Other reports say that a friend... that a friend had heard a dog between 4:15 in the morning and 5, and it, quote, sounded like Murphy. So I believe there's 3 mentions of the barks. But I'm trying to find, when was the exact time, Phoenix or Hive? Do you guys know when was the exact time that Bethany had said Maddie came and asked where Murphy was? Was it pre?
I don't know if they gave a time.
I thought it was like between 2 and 2. Yeah, it was about 3 o'clock because
2 to 2:30.
2 to 2:30, BF and MM take Murphy out. Later, Maddie can't locate him and asks BF where it is. Then at 3, Kaylee starts the call burst, obviously to Jack. They share Murphy, possibly to check where the dog is. Then at 4, DM hears someone's here. Murphy's barking. Then the helping voice.
This is the weird thing that I caught on one of these. They interviewed a male witness, age 22, and they basically say he lives across the street from 1122. So that had to have been the Taylor. But you have to look at one thing when you look at these documents. Who did they take with them when they went to interview these people? This specific interview took someone from Homeland Security Investigation Task Force. Another interview, they take the Attorney General of Washington. So these people who are high up there, people with badges, people with seniority, they go to interview specific people because this thing is heavily redacted. We don't really know who they're interviewing, especially people we can't identify. And I just thought this was interesting that they took somebody from Homeland Security Investigation Task Force to interview this individual. And they're the ones that said that he had been woken up between 4 and 4:45 because the dog had been barking loudly and uncontrollably.
It's odd because this just seems like it would be very easy to work out if there wasn't a reason to be fearful. And it just feels like some sort of payback, this all happening. Doesn't it? It feels like payback.
Feels like revenge to me.
And to Jacked and Stacked, exactly. It doesn't make sense. I had George Webb on yesterday. If you guys haven't seen that interview, go check it out. We talked about predictive policing Palantir, kind of the octopus arms of what's happening with law enforcement integrating AI and the powerful
Fabulous
people behind
interview.
it. Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. And
Mhm.
so that's been something where I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say it's a very simple way of looking at it, where it's like, well, then why would he say he was guilty and take the plea deal? He said he's guilty. That's all I need to know.
When you
Well,
are charged,
I don't know.
the justice, you don't understand this, and it's so hard to explain this to the average person that's never been charged or never been involved with our court systems or the justice system in general. When you are charged, they don't have the power or the authority to just drop anything and say, oh, sorry. There is so many ramifications of lawsuits, return on investment. And what I mean is, if they arrest you and they figure out, oh, shoot, he's factually innocent, you are going to have the biggest lawsuit on your hands. So when they make a plea deal, that's the best that you can walk away from something like this, because once you're charged, they have you in a chokehold. It's like chess. You have to know which strategy you're going to use to get the best win. And it's sad.
Right.
So remember, even though he took the plea deal, he never confessed.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to see, because I think that this is going to be powerful for anybody in the chat that, again, might be new, might be just keeping an open mind and tuning in. Hive, type a 1 if you believe that this was a planned, targeted assassination and not random, or type a 2 if this was random and Brian Kohberger didn't choose this house until moments before going inside. That's a very simple question.
Birdie, I scanned through these documents looking for the smoking gun for Kohberger. There is none.
There isn't.
I had 3 people look at these documents with me, and I said, comb through these documents, find me anything that can prove him guilty or innocent. Show me somebody that has any proof. None. There were 3 other massive suspects better than him.
I have a TikTok that I want to show you guys real quick. If I can find it here. Okay. Listen to this. Brian Kohberger is not even in the top half of the list of other people that were potential contributors to the DNA 13.1. I believe that Ann Taylor locked the state into their story, into their narrative. They showed that this was a single suspect investigation from day one. Documents showing likelihood ratio from an expert that the state fought to not have be put in there. I think Ann Taylor knew the alt perp was going to be shut down. However, now she gets to cross-examine in a way of proving and asking questions that they didn't look at anybody else. She locked the state into their story. And I believe that this is not going to be her plea of Brian's innocent. It's going to be a plea of, is this really what we're going to say now in American courts, in a Supreme Court level for a death penalty cases? Well, it's good enough. Is that what we want? And I think that will be a very effective method in creating doubt. And there's one other one, though, that I have that I wanted to show you, that I actually list out the DNA numbers on it. And, oh, did I click the wrong one? I meant to put this one. Brian Kohberger is not even in the top half of the list. This is of other people that were potential contributors to the DNA on item 13.1. I believe that Ann Taylor locked the state into their story, into their narrative. They showed that this was a single suspect investigation from day one. Documents showing likelihood ratio from an expert that the state fought to not have be put in there. I think Ann Taylor knew the alt perp was going to be shut down. However, now she gets to cross-examine in a way of proving and asking questions that they didn't look at anybody else. She locked the state into their story, and I believe that this is not going to be her plea of Brian's innocent. It's going to be a plea of, is this really what we're going to say now in America? Well, I just want to talk about this. Phoenix, what do you make of this? Like, that has to be strategy to put those names in there with Brian's and have him be in the middle of them. And Judge Hippler says, well, that's not good enough for alt suspects. And it's like, well, hang on, Brian's in the middle of those.
Well, Brian is not in the middle of those. Well, if you go back
as
and
far
you
as
look
the
at it,
likelihood
yeah,
ratio.
yeah. But if you go back, obviously Ethan's going to be high because they live together. And if you go back and look, the first two high on that list were the suspects that they had dug into. And it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't go with the other two and go hard after them. And the evidence in the fridge and all that debacle with the samples being maybe contaminated, messed up. I mean,
yeah, that too. For Christ's sake, the evidence fridge breaks with all the DNA evidence in it.
But they roll up the door and they let the air from the cold air out, and to cool it down maybe. And then they go buy a fridge I think it was the same day, but hours later, finally plug it in and move the samples. What is up with that? But you know what? ISP did have their own separate samples. So why is not ISP taking this forward and having them reopen this case with the simple fact now that everything's out in the open? We're seeing these from a perspective. Why not have somebody reopen this investigation?
Right. And April, May not.
Yeah, April, May
That's
not.
funny. Thank you for the super chat. Asked, are the powers that be protecting Moscow corridor for the drug cartels because they and the university benefit from the money?
Absolutely.
Look, as I've always said, just because if you in your own personal life are not involved with the nefarious activity and you don't think it could happen because it's a stretch, that does not mean that it's not real. And just because you don't know about something doesn't mean that it's not real. It doesn't mean that it's a conspiracy. It doesn't mean that people are lying. It doesn't mean that people in the hive mind have lost their ass. No, it's like you may see this in the movies and may think it's only in the movies. But the reality is this happens in real life. There are very, very, very influential and powerful people that allow drug running, human trafficking, all of these nefarious crimes to continue, either because they're getting a cut, because it benefits somebody that's donated to them in the past. I'm not even going to have to give specifics because everybody in their own minds right now can think of scandals where this has happened. Actually, I will give one specific. I'll give Brett Favre. Just because the downfall of Brett Favre, being a Packer fan, broke my heart. That man needs to leave his phone at home. Okay. But when you then see the text messages that get leaked, when he took from the welfare funds to build that volleyball stadium that his daughter was playing at, it was kind of like, okay, is the mainstream media twisting this? I can admit I had a little bit of a bias, oh God, they're trying to make Brett seem bad. Well, then the text messages come out and you see Brett asking the chair of that fund. Nobody's going to find out about this, right? Come on. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
Don't ask the question.
Yeah. Jacked and Stacked, thank you so much for the super chat, had asked, and from the autopsy, all those wounds and deleting 4 people, one being a 6'4" man, done by one person in under 8 minutes? No effing way. And also the crime scene should have been way worse. Well, there's just a lot of discrepancies. There are a lot of discrepancies. There's also different temperaments in those autopsies.
Yes.
Very different. There's very precise, tactical, lethal shots. And then there's 50 chaotic stab wounds as well.
It wouldn't be shocking to me, and I'm just trying to rationalize the allegedly shot in the audio that we hear, and thinking somebody had to cover up on top of that with a narrative that would be able to be sold.
Yeah.
And I just keep thinking back to why cover it up? Why cover it up? Has Kohberger taken a plea deal so that he can go away and they can change his name and, do whatever they need to do and he'll be protected? Or is he really going to have to sit the rest of his life until some evidence comes up that will exonerate him? Like his first attorney, Jason, what was that guy's name? What was his name? Jason LaBar. He said, very calmly that Koberger will await the day he's exonerated. Like, he's hanging in there for the long run because he knows he's innocent.
Right. Exactly. And and I'm sorry, Tina's saying like, oh, someone's spamming in there, but someone's saying like, Lucy is disagreeing. So you guys know it's okay to disagree as long as you're not trolling or threatening. I'm just very curious what it is, because when you lay out all this, if you still have some question, I am curious like as to what it is that's not clicking in your head, that one of these things you could maybe say. So you're going to say nothing will exonerate him. Okay. Well, you're right. There is no hope for you for that. I don't know what to say, Lucy. You didn't even make an argument. I gave you a chance to ask a question. But again, it's all in when I say good fun, when I clown horn people, and that it's just I think you have to ask yourself and be honest, like, are you trying to get the truth, or are you just dead locked in the way of thinking that nothing's going to exonerate him because he's guilty, because you've been told over and over again? There's a lot of people in the Hive, and I would actually ask Hive, type of 1, if you at one point thought Brian Koberger was guilty throughout this ordeal, because there was times when I started thinking it too. I'm like,
yeah,
oh shit.
me too. I've had people come to me and say, you know what? I've read some of the documents that you shared on the website, and oh my God, I was wrong. Thank you for opening my eyes. And I'm thinking to myself, a lot of people don't know about the justice system. And one thing I want to make very clear, defense has no power in the court system. And when I say that, the prosecution has all the power. So when people say, oh, the defense went to the prosecution for a plea deal, no, the prosecution was not ready to go to trial. They didn't have any evidence factually. And when the IGG was tossed out by Hippler, they had no way to make the connection. They found Koberger. They could not explain that to a jury. Oh, we just picked this guy at random, because that's what they did.
Right. And Phoenix, Lucy, do you want to address that with Lucy? So as far as what is being twisted, as far as
their kids are not, I don't know who this Lucy
on this stream, or
I don't know who this Lucy is, but they were in my chat yesterday and I kicked her out. So I think her profile was made like 2 days ago, maybe. I don't know who this person is, but they've not obviously read any documents, not watched any of the trials. None of the court documents were read. They're just a troll. So I said, see ya, be well.
I gave
Lucy's an NPC.
Yeah, I gave NPC Lucy a chance. And you guys know, I don't care if anybody thinks that he's guilty or he's not. Just let's make an argument. We're sitting here, we're putting in real time and effort here as the Hive, showing you things, showing you the documents, showing you their own words, showing you the evidence, showing you the DNA likelihood ratios, showing you the interviews, showing you all of this, and we're looking at it through a different lens. My question is, when you have a point like that, that's fine. I have no problem pulling it up on the screen to, I guess, look into what you're saying. If somebody was to come to me right now, Phoenix, I can tell you this. If somebody, and I don't think anybody really would disagree with this, because nobody here wants a murderer to walk free. We want the right person to be behind bars. So what I'm saying is, if there was a video camera in that house or on that house that can show me proof that it's Brian Koberger's car, proof that it's his license plate, proof that Brian's in the car, any one of those, if you could show me Brian Koberger at the house, literally any doubt that he did this, or like, I'm trying to say, if there was a very obvious thing where it's like he did this, I would have no problem being like, I've been way wrong, and I'm glad that came out because they got the right guy.
Right. And I said this the other night on my live. I said, show me the smoking gun and I'll shut up and apologize. And I'll never talk about this case again. Show me the smoking gun. Somebody please do that.
Yeah. And April May not, thank you again for the super chat. They state Pavarotti, who's another creator that dives into the Idaho 4, if you're not aware. I personally think that Pav has done a really good job connecting police documents back to court records, and has theorized into, like, he's just critically thanked through it all. And I believe he started off as a guilter too, but goes on to say believes that Xana's attacker could be a girl, possibly what's her name, Demetrius's girl, who got off after unaliving Caden and a DUI. Now, I believe that the 50+ stab wounds and Xana fighting back show that whoever was attacking her was a smaller person. And I believe Pavarotti and a lot of other people have made that same conclusion. I actually think that the coroner, or not the coroner, I'm sorry, the the defense's expert talked about the autopsy would likely point to multiple perpetrators.
Absolutely. It does in the cleanup, right? So that's what the experts were getting ready to go to trial and share. And they knew what they were going to be up against. So when you look at those documents and you read what the experts were going to testify to, that was alarming, because my thought process in this whole Idaho 4 theory was that Ethan and Xana did not return home on their own. They did not walk home. They never made it home on their own. And the reason I say that is because I think, in my humble opinion, when they left the frat party, something went down outside, whether it be in the backyard or around the Queen Road apartments. Something happened outside. And Ethan and Xana were already gone. I think Xana fought whoever it was to stop what they were doing to Ethan. That's what my process was.
It's just very interesting then that you hear the, you're going to be okay. Dylan then says she hears crying. My question is, I don't think that they would leave them hanging on for life, right? I think that they would have probably ended them, but I'm actually starting to believe too that the bodies were moved into specific victims' rooms, being Maddie and Xana's, to send a message as well. That's why they're both found in those specific rooms. Although it says Kaylee was found near Xana's room in the documents, and between that room and the hall, you hear it on the 911 call. So my question, and to point out Blue-Eyed Candy's thoughts, which we've all discussed in the Hive a handful of times over the last few streams, has been, it's okay, I'm here to help you, was most likely the second murderer saying that to another murderer, meaning it's all right, I'm going to help you, because either they were struggling with them, they walked in, and you got to think, if somebody is trying to stab another person and you walk in and you don't announce yourself and say something to let them recognize you, with their adrenaline going, you don't want to catch a stray and get yourself. So that would make sense. Now, the other thing.
So, let me finish this thought, Birdie. So I feel like they moved them back to the house, inside the house. And I believe that Kaylee was upstairs. I believe Kaylee was upstairs, and she heard them returning Ethan and Xana. And she interrupted them. And that's when I think they went upstairs. Like Steve says, you didn't have to go upstairs.
Yeah, that could be it too. You didn't have to go upstairs. Yeah, damn. And Sherlock too, saying, or the crime is already done, and one purpose telling the other they're gonna help clean and stage. I've always wondered. This is a working theory in my head. Is I've always wondered if the perps arrived at two separate times. Like, did they drive separate? You know what I mean? Did one come in from one side, then did one park, and then that's when you hear the gun rack going in just in case it's not done? Who knows?
Yep.
But
whatever happened, I think they used someone's car, and this is my humble opinion, allegedly. I think they used someone's car and put the body on the hood and drove them back to the house, wherever this happened.
Well, and if the cops changed Dylan's story or she downplayed it, whatever it may be, there's some shenanigans going on. You can't question that. There's shenanigans going on, and thank you to Z for that super chat. And then Deborah Carter, why didn't LE say that BK worked as an intern? Phoenix, I will let you answer it, because you were the one that was really going in on this when it came to the police chief being asked that question.
This was a good one, and I had to go down a lot of rabbit holes, and I had one screenshot in my phone that I had just taken a screenshot because I thought this was pretty interesting. This was almost a year and a half ago. That tells you a lot of screenshots I had to go through. In this article, Chief Gary Jenkins was asked directly if Kohberger worked with the Pullman Police Department. And his response was simply, I cannot answer that at this time. I'll have to consult with the attorneys. End quote.
Yeah, like that's an answer that I feel like you would only give to somebody when you know, okay, I have to be careful about what I say here. Right? Because
Correct.
if you're the police chief and you've never heard of Brian Koberger's name, you would probably just say, no, I have no idea who this guy is. Not, I got to talk with my lawyer.
Yeah.
There's probably a chance.
They have to mitigate their losses. They can't just openly say, what if that was leaked that he was working on special projects, which he interviewed for, which led him out there also in his internship? What if that had leaked that he was working for them? Because that police department seemed to be leaking a lot of stuff. There was the leak in that department. I don't know if you know this or you got that far yet. The leak in that department was the ex-chief that was having his mistress and doing all this stuff and was left the position. He was actually the leak to a producer.
Really?
Yes. Yep. Oppen North or whatever the chief's name was.
It's all so crazy. It's also crazy. And I do not find it a coincidence. And I think that there are a lot of people that their gut instinct about it being multiple people, the timeline, what the roommates had allegedly said or not said, the weapons used, and the motive. Think back in the beginning when your first little inkling of something inside of you, something was, kind of chirping you in the background, just saying like, this isn't making sense. This isn't making sense. It's kind of funny. Actually, it's not funny at all. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's the mainstream media poisoning us. But it comes right back to, look at the documents. There's a lot that points to that initial gut instinct being closer to the truth than Brian Koberger being identified from his dad's Q-tip 2,000 miles away in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have never guessed that. Like,
well, they just redacted the other day that he wasn't separating the trash, and just like, you're gonna redact it all. You're gonna admit that you did AI pictures and put them out there to make people fear and creepy and all that stuff. What else did they do? I mean, look at the patterns and what they've done to every massive major story. They give you the villain and the hero. We've seen that in this story. They give you the emotional hook. So much missing context. The fear cycle is huge. Then the distraction stories that go along with it. And then the flip-flop. We're in the flip-flop stage.
And I want to point this out. Just like the investigators post press conference of the sentencing said, there's no evidence that he stalked them. We don't know if he had a burner phone. I don't remember. And in addition, the rumor of Brian Koberger putting trash in his neighbor's trash is not true. Confirmed. That is not true. And the other thing that is not true that has gotten so much attention when it comes to Brian Koberger is with stalking them at the Mad Greek. Dude, the most they had on him was when he pressed on Google Maps the restaurants tab, and the effing Mad Greek populated as restaurants near me.
Right. He was right across
the
street from it. Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot, we're all in trouble now.
It's just crazy. I mean, shit, it is crazy. And Blue Eyed Candy stays coming with the super chats this evening and other streams too. I appreciate it so much. Could BK have been a failed infiltration sting? Think of the movie The Departed, Leo.
Yeah.
Dude, The Departed is unbelievable. And I think they just had a Departed 2 I watched the other night.
Did they?
Maybe not, but I thought there was a second one that just came out. But I've actually done a couple of streams. You guys, if you're interested in it, I put together kind of a sting on King was what I was calling it. I also wonder if Kaye came back because Kaye was doing something to expose people. And that's the reason she chose to come back. Did Kaylee come back for the formal? Did Kaylee come back for other reasons? What is the reasoning? And then for this to happen on it, it seems like, yes, while there could be an innocent reason she's back, in addition to all these other things, I believe Kaylee was set up.
I believe she was too. And that whole who owned the car, I mean, she bought it on the 10th. It was registered under someone else. There was something wrong with it. It had to have been fixed. So where did that car even come from? Who promised her that car? I mean, $6,500 in cash and then another $1,000 on her grandmother's credit card to get the car. I mean, she had good credit, so they extended the loan. And then, I mean, that whole story with the car didn't make sense either.
No, it definitely didn't. And Elsa's, thank you so much for the super chat. Why have the police not revealed DM Snapchats or deleted pictures, which are recoverable? You know, I have wondered that myself, but I'm not sure how long they're recoverable for. Now, I do believe that everything is recoverable to an extent. I'm wondering if from a Snapchat, just from a business move, Phoenix, maybe you know the answer, but my gut instinct tells me is like, it's kind of like Apple. Like they won't unseal or unlock a phone, right? Like,
yeah, but if you look at the warrants that they got in the Moscow Police Department, I haven't seen very many in the ISP reports. But if you go back and look at the warrants that they sent to Google and Facebook and Snap and all these other people, they asked them to preserve the records. So that means they will have the records for that time frame, whether they use them now or not, or ever, or in the future. That is always going to be there. That it could be used as evidence in the future.
Yeah, I want to know too, Phoenix,
Yeah.
what Dana just said.
I do too. It's eating me up.
Does anybody have any guesses?
351. Gosh, that's a tough one.
Lucy
That is a
Morningstar,
tough
becoming
one.
Lucifer Morningstar Venus, term coined by Neil Gaiman, English author, famous for Sandman comic series based off Paradise Lost. There's so much hidden meanings and so much shit that's like a normal thing in our lives that is mainstream. And Bert, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The Hive is the best contrarian thinking live stream chat on the internet. I'm convinced. Second to nobody. Bunch of open-minded people who are sick of the BS of the mainstream narrative. And in addition to that, we enjoy and can literally wrap our heads around what is possible and logically bridge build how maybe we're not getting the bigger picture in things that affect our daily lives. They affect our lives. We have a right, if just as you have a right to stick your head in the sand and someone tells you the sky is green, you're like, okay, thanks CNN, thanks Fox. You know, we have a right to be like, no, my BS meter is going off. So,
well, here's something that I enjoy about the Hive is that intelligent, friendly, they greet each other, they're respectful, and they're tired of being lied to also, just like we are.
Yeah. It's just it's too bad. It really is. It's just too bad. And it's also very interesting that the people who don't think logically are always the first to make it a personal attack against you or like get emotional about it. And it's always the people who think they're too smart to get manipulated that end up getting manipulated.
Well, I think also, Birdie, and you maybe blame my older generation for not teaching these young people to use their heads with their own logic, right? Because they all want to be cool. They all want to be hanging out. They all want to agree with everyone. They see it on the media. It must be true. They share the same sentiments. And they're not thinking logically. They're thinking with that emotion. I want to be accepted. All my friends know that he's guilty. Well, show me the smoking gun and I'll shut up.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I will.
Yeah. It's like,
I'll have to.
It's literally like, I'm showing you the documents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the documents. And you're saying that the 911 calls narrative in the mainstream media was that Hunter had told them, no, don't come in here, get out. But then you just read the documents and it said, we were inside the house when the police showed up and started putting the tape up. You also, just taking the 911 call, instead of taking it at face value, you can hear them without any audio enhancements say, come on, we have to go check. Is she passed out? When you called for somebody being passed out.
Well,
what?
We have free will. Either we read and comprehend or we don't. And that is a sad state because, like you call them, NPCs are running around everywhere. They're
the first line of defense for the mainstream media.
Every post I see, I'm thinking, you know what? And the easiest thing that any of us can do when you see somebody and you know they're not sharing the truth with you is block them. They don't get paid if they don't show up on your FYP. You don't have to watch it for 3 seconds. You know, I mean, that's how the power of the people for the truth will win. I mean, we're fighting a spiritual battle here. It's not just good. It's more than what you're just seeing, because this goes higher and higher and higher to who is really pulling the strings, not just in this case, but everything else above this case.
Yeah, and
what's
it's like
the real agenda?
And to get off this soapbox on trolls and NPCs, let me just say this. Have a little bit of emotional maturity to understand that all you have to do is hold your phone and do this. Swipe, and it's gone. It doesn't have to affect your day. You don't have to get mad about it. You don't have to get mad at the world. You don't have to ruin your your whole day because some stranger on the internet is thinking in a different manner that you are. I'm telling you, like, I don't block people unless it's like straight up shit talk consistently. And it's not, that's different than disagreeing, right? If you disagree, you're not getting blocked. If you shit talk consistently, and it's like you could, again, like how we were saying, Phoenix, you could tell when Steve G was interviewing, it's like he's talking through the screen. You can also tell that same way when you can just tell no one's here to actually have a conversation. They're just doing their thing. But have a little bit of emotional maturity and don't let it ruin your day. I want to get through acknowledging this last super chat from Danielle. Thank you so much. Do you think BK was perverting at the time, but got there when they had already been killed, and now he's just taking credit for it? I don't know. I mean, the guy seems like he had such a promising criminology career and profession going for him that it just seems too cleanly built around him to want to take the fall and get put into a murder room in Idaho to have some notoriety for killing 4 college kids.
Yeah.
It just seems like, I don't know. I don't see it. I know people do that, but not him. No.
There's this rumor going around that he passed a note to Bethany or something. And you guys, you have to understand, let's get back to the basics. He didn't have any connection to any of those people in that house. None.
Right. And I want to move on to the tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day. And if there's anybody in here that thought that your head was exploding when I'm showing you the real documents and the people's actual words and just reading them out loud, if you thought that was manipulation, well, hold on to your head so it doesn't explode off of your body, because this tinfoil hat conspiracy today talks about how the moonlight might be fake. Now, I'm not saying necessarily what this picture is depicting, that there's a light shining on the moon. However, there is fringe research that claim objects that are placed under the moonlight become colder, where essentially what they're showing is that the moon radiates a cooling energy. It challenges basic physics, suggesting that moonlight isn't a reflection at all, but an artificial or manipulated emission of energy. Some theorists even argue that the moon could be a technological construct projecting its own eerie glow to regulate Earth's environment. Ancient cultures often describe the moon as a lamp or, quote, giver of cold light, not a mirror of the sun. The cooling effect has been tied to theories of energetic manipulation. Moonlight is a frequency designed to suppress human vitality. So in this view, lunar cycles are not just gravitational, but they're a part of a system that's controlling human behavior, meaning sleep and fertility. The moon's position and phases may act like a programming signal that goes into our biological makeup, not just with humans, but with all living creatures on Earth, syncing consciousness to artificial rhythms. If this is true, the entire framework of modern astronomy, reflection, orbit, illumination, could be a carefully managed illusion. The theory suggests that moonlight is not just faked. This allows it to be weaponized. And it's not just a natural phenomenon, because the mainstream narrative is saying that the moon only reflects the sunlight, but there's measurements that show it actually has a cooling energy. So I thought that was really interesting. Sometimes the tinfoil hat conspiracy today, they're a stretch, but this one, I'm like, see, that seems, I could believe that if it regulates your sleep, your consciousness, fertility, not just for humans, but all living things on Earth, right? I think that could be a thing. I also think that one of the reasons why half the world is awake and half the world's asleep is because the Earth is a living energy mechanism where it needs a certain level of consciousness to be awake, and then it needs a certain level of consciousness to not be awake. So the nights that you can't sleep, you're on a waiting list because there's too many people asleep, and the Earth needs you to be awake.
I love it. I love it. That one makes sense. The cooling.
Yeah.
That makes total
what I mean?
sense in our energies. Yeah, absolutely. Controls the
Phoenix,
ocean.
It does control the ocean as well. I mean, it controls a
Yeah.
lot of things, right? To think that it's just reflecting light, it serves a really big purpose. And just like the, it just like the sun, everything. I would say that truth is probably stranger than fiction. And when you learn the secrets of humanity or whatever of our makeup that's different than what we were told by all of the books that were published and approved to brainwash us as we grew up through elementary school, and you think about all of the things that you hold near and dear to your core on your belief system, rather, how much of that was just told to you when you didn't know shit about shit?
Just like this case, I was frozen in shock when I read the ISP reports.
Yeah. And there's so many people too, Phoenix, sorry, that are saying, I'm always on the waiting list.
I'm always.
And Rachel, I've wondered that too. I'm going to be diving into more of these documents over the next couple of streams. So if this is your first time in the Hive, and I just want to make sure that I address that, Rachel, any super chats that I do not get to, I try to screenshot them and put them into the Hive Mind finds for the next stream. So what I'll typically do, and I'll just do it right now live, is
that was good. Birdie, I love our Sundays. I just have to say, I look forward to them. This is probably the best stream of the week for me, and focusing on the chat, the Hive Mind, it's just been amazing. So what do you think about, and I'll leave you with this, and then maybe we can talk about it another day. What do you think about the guy they found in the ISP report? He was drunk and he confessed to the murders.
So I need to look into that more. Okay. I would like to do what I'm going to do, Hive, just to make a couple announcements in addition to the Hive Mind Roundtable on Sunday, August 24th. Send me an email if you're interested in it. In addition to that, I have been floating the idea around because I love doing the live digs. I know everybody in the Hive loves live digs. I used to do them on Saturdays with Phoenix. I'm gonna move those to Friday nights. I feel like Friday nights is more of like a live dig night, right? It's more energetic. It's more involved. It's more of an activity to do on a Friday night. And Saturday, I've found when I have guests on, like George Webb or like the body language analyst that I'm going to be having coming on, and I'll make that announcement over the course of the next few days. Saturdays seem to be a really good time for those people. So I think Friday nights are going to be the live digs. Sundays, Phoenix and I, we love digging into the Hive Mind finds. It always sparks great conversation. But to answer your question, Phoenix, I believe that discussion and that question you just asked me deserves slides for to show people what was said. And
suspect number 1, 2, 3, and the guy that they arrested.
Exactly. So
sounds good,
Phoenix,
Birdie.
You crushed tonight. Thank you so much to everybody in the Hive Mind. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome to the Hive. I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central, including Sunday evenings. Saturdays are 10 a.m. I have a variety of guests on throughout the week. We dive into all of the topics, and we're not afraid to question the narrative and the headlines. So if that's you, welcome, and you have found your people. Thank you to everybody who sent a super chat. This stream was absolutely unbelievable. The chat, as always, is amazing. Phoenix, you rock. And with that, everybody, I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday evening and go out on Monday morning and crush the week. Cheers, everybody.
Just like old times. Have a good night, Birdie.
Yep. Thanks, Phoenix. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye, Hive.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.